Hey guys, what's good? It's Saki here and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a Flume tutorial in which I teach you how to come up with those Flume sort of drum grooves, punch and swing, and the effects, and mainly the chords and a bit of sound design. So let's get to it. And so here we are in Flume Slicer, and this is where I choose to create my drum grooves, the basic drum grooves. The rest of the drums are on the channel rack, and so here's just the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. And so to get this sort of groove, what you can do is just come here to your in and output, and on your buffer length, you don't want your buffer length to be like really low for this. I usually put my buffer length around probably 512, and I just play these notes by my hand. So this is a cool way to get these notes to sound a bit off-grid, because the buffer length actually affects your timing when you're playing notes. And so moving on to the next sound. That was just an open hi-hat, and to show you the effects in the first drum groove, and so here I used the glue here I used the glue compressor, and so this is just to make the drum groove a bit even. And I also used a transient processor. This comes with FL Studio, and here I just lifted up the attack, which gives it a lot more punch. And the soft clipper is not necessary here. It doesn't make much of a difference, but I just chose to put it in. And so moving on to the chords. So if you listen to these chords, they're quite repetitive in a way, but it's not a boring way. And I don't really know much theory in terms of chords, but I can tell you that these are minor chords. And essentially what I did here, the chord actually looks something like this before, and so I just inverted this, and it sort of sounds cool in a way. And most of your Flume type chords, they have chords that are repeated. Like if you look at the third chord and the first chord on the third bar, it's legit the same chords. And if you look at these, and if you look at this chord and also this chord, it's the same thing. And so that's what I'd advise you to do when it comes to your Flume chords. See, the important parts on these chords are the first chord and the third chord. And because the first chord is the same as the last chord, and the third chord here is the same as the fourth chord. And it's sort of like, if you listen to most of Flume tracks, you'll hear this technique that he uses quite a lot. And so here on the synthesizer, this is how I created it. It's so I used oscillator A and B, and it's just a sawtooth with 4 voices of unison. I detuned that a bit, and on the oscillator B, it's also detuned as well. And so here I used an LFO instead of an envelope. The LFO just keeps the waveform like very active. It doesn't just hit as like a one shot or something. And so I use this LFO on the detune, and I use this LFO on the bend plus minus as well. I also used a filter here MG low 24, and I used this AB that's just both, and that's just both the oscillators. And so moving on to the synth, this was, oh, moving on to the bass, and so here you go. And so let me just play it in song mode. And here on 5, this was a downloaded synth, and well, on this synth, someone might argue that this note sounds better here, but I actually enjoyed more here at C7, so that's just my preference. And adding on to the drums, I have this open hat here. Another open hat. And to give the snare more punch and just like more character and like just make it interesting, I alternated the snare hits like oh, this is not that snare, this is just like a little fill before the snare. This is a reverse snare. It's actually the main snare that I used, I just reversed it here. And adding a tom fill. And to layer the snare is added here in every odd bar. And here is just like a vocal. And here is the main synth. The main synth, I just rendered it out because of my RAM, and so this is how it sounds. It's the same chord as the first chord that I showed you. And then finally here is the acapella. The acapella is a Georgia Smith acapella, which I created myself. I just downloaded this from a Georgia Smith performance on YouTube, and then I turned it into an acapella and time stretched it to fit the song, and so this is how the whole song sounds. And so if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to like and subscribe on my YouTube, and leave a comment in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.